A High Court judge has dismissed the case against a Sheffield tree campaigner who was accused of breaking an injunction at a protest against a controversial tree felling programme.
Dismissed!
Paul Brooke welcomed the judge's ruling that he was justified in breaching the security zone because he genuinely believed, albeit mistakenly, that a fellow protester was being harmed by security staff.
Broadcasting to South Yorkshire and North Derbyshire.
Paulette Edwards.
On BBC Radio Sheffield.
Good morning. As we just heard in the news with Nick, a High Court judge has dismissed the case against Sheffield tree campaigner Paul Brooke, who was accused of breaking an injunction when protesting against a tree felling programme. Our reporter Andy Kershaw is outside the Sheffield Town Hall, where some of the tree campaigners have just heard the verdict.
Yes, good morning to you, Paul. Outside Sheffield Town Hall, where there are at least 20 or 30 jubilant tree campaigners, because the case, as you heard, against the tree campaigner Paul Brooke, just handed down in the High Court in London by Mr Justice Mayles a few moments ago, is that the case for contempt of court against Paul Brooke has been dismissed. If you remember, on the 5th to the 7th of June earlier this month, there were 4 defendants: Dr Simon Crump, Fran Grace and Benoit Compan. Dr Crump and Benoit Compan got suspended sentences, 2 months imprisonment, suspended for a year, and the case against Fran Grace was just found to be in contempt. But Mr Justice Mayles took away the case against Paul Brooke to consider other relevant factors, and that judgment has been handed down today, and Paul Brooke joins me outside the Town Hall Ball. Just outline the special factors in your case.
Hi. Well, in my case, when the council said that they thought I was in breach of the injunction, I wrote back to them and said I did go inside the safety zone, but I did so in order to defend someone else who was being assaulted at the time. The council said, well, that doesn't really matter. You can't use a criminal defence of another. You can't use that in a civil injunction case, so we're going to take you to court anyway. And the judge had some legal matters to consider.
Was it irrelevant whether or not an assault case has been found against the person you were protecting from?
No, not at all. I think the issue about defence of another is the test, as the judge explained, is whether the person has an honest and reasonably held belief that an assault is taking place. And we don't have the details of Justice Mayles' judgment yet, but to have found me not in contempt, one can only assume that he's accepted that I honestly at the time was acting in good faith as a good citizen in order to try to prevent an assault.
Now, presumably, you will have a case for costs against Sheffield City Council now, won't you?
Absolutely. They will. It is normal that the losing side would pay the other side's costs. So, yes, I'm sure our legal team will be trying to recover the costs that we've had to spend defending me from Sheffield City Council.
Now, there is that continuing pause in tree felling in Sheffield. Lewis Dagnall's taken over from Jack Scott. I think he said he's going to carry on his listening exercise until the end of the summer. If tree felling begins around about September, October, do you anticipate getting out there and protesting again? And will you breach the injunction?
Well, I certainly won't be breaching the injunction. It was never my intention to, and the judge has said I didn't. So, breaching the injunction is not what any of us want to do. Yes, I will definitely be, and others. If we're forced into it, we will be out there defending our city's assets. Our mature urban forest in this city needs protecting. Sadly, the people who should be protecting our urban forest is our elected representatives. They have failed since signing this contract to protect our heritage and our urban forest. If they won't do it, well, then we will, and we have been doing and will continue to do it.
Just on a personal level, how stressful has this last few months been for you?
It's been hugely stressful for myself and my family. I think one of the things that's been really hard to take is the way that we were characterised by South Yorkshire Police. South Yorkshire Police said the 22nd of January they saw aggression on our part, and they saw a change in behaviour, and they did a change in police tactics. I hope that South Yorkshire Police will reflect long and hard on the judgment when they get to read it and have a look about how they characterised us, and we'd really like an apology from South Yorkshire Police for the way that we were portrayed.
Well, there we are then. Just to recap then, the High Court case against Paul Brooke has been dismissed. He's not been found not in contempt of court. This is Andy Kershaw for BBC Radio Sheffield at Sheffield Town Hall.
Thank you very much, Andy.